Hey everybody, it's Austin at Homeowners Financial, and I wanted to share an economic forecast with you today. This was put together by corporate, so we have some really, really nerdy economic people at corporate. And so therefore we were tasked for like, look, y'all, we need to explain to people about why this is a good time to buy. I need you to get some data, I need you to get some stats. We got to work on this together. So I wanted to share this presentation with y'all, get a little creativity, understand what we expect and why we still think that really this Q1 is so important. This is so absolutely important. So let me share the screen, get this party started. All right. So why is it a good time to buy? Well, look, here's the deal. Like, we got to talk about inflation. We got to talk about the cost of money. So, what is inflation? It's too much money chasing too few goods. We see this especially in real estate because if you don't have inventory, the prices will increase, right? Fed hikes are slowing down how much money people want to actually borrow, right? The Fed hikes makes more bank deposits, right? They're putting more money in, they're like holding it out of the market. Like this is where you're going to see inflation absolutely change. So what's next? Let's talk about core inflation. Let's talk about what it's been year over year, right? So you can see inflation super kicked up as money really got into the market from the PPP loans, from all the help that we saw really in COVID. So this source is MBS Highway. We have a lot of different graphs that we can pull from them. Super interesting. So I want to show you where it is now and where it was. I mean, super, super drastic. Now, what do you do with this, right? We got to talk about the blended rent. We got to talk about your shelter, right? We got to talk about where this lag is, right? Like you don't feel it necessarily today. You feel it tomorrow when you run out of milk versus having the milk in the fridge today. We got to talk about shelter, right? Like how many percent change and month over month are we seeing? And it's super, super drastic. Look at this change in 2022 and look at it where it was in September. Y'all, that's a big fat movement, right? You're going to see these continuously change over time. We got to focus on really what we saw in the beginning of last year, again, to towards the end of the year. This is really impactful for today of what happened last. There's a bunch of different numbers on here. I don't expect to follow all of it, but look at this trend over time. We saw a big increase again back towards September of last year as it kind of moved forward. So where do we expect inflation to be and Fed cut? So the goal of Fed is to cut 2% year over year on core price index economy. Then we have January. This is already released. February is moving in there. We're not seeing that huge necessarily shift, right? We've got to talk about these different bullet points so that you understand when is the Fed going to meet again? Well, it's going to be at the end of January. Are they going to change rates? Probably not yet. But every time they talk about, you see a shift, and then you start seeing prices follow around, right? Now, remember, the feds meet technically every month, but they release data quarterly that they expect to change, right? So let's look at what we expect over time and where this is going to be moving. Now, look, let's take some odds on the Fed cut, right? Like we think 100% that we're going to see things drop towards the end of Q2, Q3, most definitely. So as rates are high, it's still better for you to buy now because remember that 1% change in interest rate means a 10% change in data, right? This is absolutely huge for your price points. So again, I task them with a lot of nerdy things, right? So each dot recommends a member, and this is where they're starting to have what do they agree and what do they disagree on, right? Where do they actually feel aligned to where they be? Now you see in the long run, more people aligned to see that down. And they were absolutely aligned last year, all about keeping things in. Now they're shifting and they're shifting. And we do expect to see a bigger drop in rates next year and the year after, right? We also have to talk about what is the actual Fed balance sheet. So when the Fed buys bonds, they hold money, right? It's dropping now. They're starting to spend that. So the balance sheet breakdown, you're seeing it shift. Look at it where it was pre-pandemic, right? Total securities held on the balance sheet was 4.25 million. Now we're at 8.4, right? This is a huge, huge difference. And they're going to start taking that away and taking that away. You can see it's going to be starting to go over time to get more in balance of where we were pre-pandemic. This is what is going to cause those rate shifts. Okay. Look at where we expect it to be towards the end of the year. I'm telling you that Q2, Q3 is where we're going to see a lot of pop. So that's why I think it's more important to purchase today versus not. Mortgage rates decline during recessions. So if there is an actual recession, you'll see rates drop, right? This is why, again, if we marry the house and date the rate, you're going to have a benefit over time versus not. We do believe that the forecast is going to be in the mid fives to high sixes towards the end of the year. Once it moves under six, it should lock the move up buyers, create some more inventory. The 10-year treasury, we expect that to return closer to three. It's still ticking up over four. These are more normal spreads because money has been gotten a little bit more expensive. So inventory is going to remain tight. We expect it to remain tight because, again, we've not been building over year. You got to look at for formations of new households and completions of new households, right? Like, how are we building? How are we producing this over time? And again, there's going to be more formations than there are completions. So that means that the demand is going to be continuously increasing. So forecast nationwide, we expect a 4 to 5 to 5%. I think in the 805, you're going to see a 7 to 10%. And we expect that most transactions are going to be up 15 to 20%. Those are a lot of percentage. What that bottom line means for you is if we like it and we move for it, how do we move forward? So facts. One of the hundreds of benefits of owning a home compared to renting is your mortgage payment is going towards your net worth. You're putting money in your pocket, not somebody else's, okay? The median net worth of homeowners is 80 times that worth of renters, right? Like household wealth as among homeowners is 1.4, like over 1,000, almost 1,500% higher than compared to renters. I want you to build wealth. I want you to create housing stability, and I want you to be able to do this together over time. So we've got to look that more. Your wealth is more than 40 times that of renters. This is why we do this together. We're here when you need us. We absolutely want to help make this happen. We want you to help set those goals. We want to crush them and repeat and build this over time. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. I know that was a lot, but please reach out because there's a lot of data versus just buy a house. Somebody needs to get paid. This is you getting paid. Absolutely you and nobody else. It's also a homeless fan. Take it, make it a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.